What up, sports fans? Waxon Wednesday. Jake Waxman, Tom Levelet, talk it. Two guys talk sports. Let's go. Blunder there. All right. So today, it's all about. I'm going to be focusing 100% on the Olympics and as much on Team USA as possible in these first two subjects. So we're going to start with soccer. So we got two finals coming up. One on Friday, one on Saturday. The first one will be the men's finals between France and Spain. Is it just me or do I have some deja vu? Oh, that's right. Feels like the Euros again. Back in Germany. This will be a rematch between these two sides. They met in the semifinals in the Euros earlier this year, or earlier in July, I should say. And Spain got the better of France in that matchup. But France, they'll be motivated for this matchup. Not only is it a chance for redemption or a chance to get some revenge on the Spanish, but also, here's the thing, they got home field advantage. So the game, while it's not at the Stade de France, it will be. Hey, this gold medal match, nonetheless, will be in France, and so Team France has the advantage over Spain in that. And also, hey, I mean, winning the Euros is one thing, but winning the Euros and the Olympic gold medal is a whole other story. In fact, I don't think it's ever been done on the men's side of things. I could be wrong, but if it has, then it hasn't been done for a while. So it's so we'll see if Spain has what it takes to defy the odds and repeat history. But this is the same Spanish team that won the Euros, so they're very good. Can't count them out. But it's just a different feel from the Olympics as opposed to the Euros. Of course, that was in Germany. This is in France, so the French will be motivated. That Spanish team is very, very good, though. They are very, very good. In fact, they probably are going to be World Cup favorites for the next World Cup which will be in the United States, by the way. Now, with that said, I will say this: it is going to be a great, great matchup between them and France. It's going to be a close game. I think it goes to overtime. I'm going to go with the French getting their revenge on the Spanish 2-1. They score the game winner in the second half of extra time. And then finally, the women's match, which will be on Saturday. This is between Team USA and Brazil. So how about this? After having a really tough showing in the Women's World Cup in New Zealand, which many people were predicting the Americans would, or I won't say, I kind of was not surprised I wasn't predicting it, but there were plenty of people that I know of that were predicting the U.S. to win 3 World Cups in the world, but that didn't happen. They got knocked out in the first round. We were lucky to even just get into the knockout rounds, but this U.S. team looks a lot different than the one that partook in the Women's World Cup in 2023. That is for sure. And a lot of it is the youth has stepped up, and it's definitely a different team. I will say this, like I said, the old guard has pretty much either retired from this U.S. team or been retired. Now, something to keep in mind, Rapinoe retired, or Megan Rapinoe retired, and Alex Morgan was actually left off the roster for this U.S. team. So, a lot of people were shocked by that move, but it's one that, unfortunately, in the case of Alex Morgan, and nothing against her, because she's a great, great soccer player, but hey, it hasn't hurt the United States. Honestly, it's really helped a lot. The team has gotten younger, but now they face a very tough test against Brazil. This is a team led by one of the world's best soccer players in Mata, of course. Great player. And this Brazil team, they're very, very physical. They might get some yellow cards in this match, but their physicality, it could take a toll on a team like the United States, and it took its toll on the French women's team. They eliminated them, and same with the defending women's World Cup champions in Spain. So the United States is going to have their hands full. This is going to be a really good match, and I predict both finals are going to end up in extra time. And hey, this is a rematch, by the way, of the 2008 gold medal match in Beijing between these two sides. And this time, I'm going to go with this. My prediction is it's going to be a close match. I'm going to go 2-1 going into extra time in favor of the United States. It'll be a great game. I think Brazil's got a lot. They got a lot of firepower too. But the United States, I think they'll watch the tape, and with this young core, I mean, it'll be a tough matchup for them, but I think they'll be ready for it. But both matchups should be really, really fun to watch, and great, great matchups. So, just my thoughts on soccer. And now, speaking of Team USA, track and field. I tell you what, Team USA, they're blowing it up in track and field. Like, and I don't mean as in like rebuild, like full on. They are just, whew, it's a fireworks show. At the moment right now, Team USA in track and field, they already have 6 gold. They have 6 gold medals and 19 total medals in track and field. They are killing it, and a lot of it is they've also scored plenty of upsets. Just to name a few guys that have scored upsets. Quincy Hall, who won the men's 400 meter, he was one of the underdogs in this race, and he ended up winning in a upset. And to name another one, Cole Hawker, who won the men's 300 meter steeplechase, and Yared Nagus, who got the bronze medal in that event. Shout out to both of those guys for running the races of their lives and pulling an upset. There's a guy from Norway that was the favorite to win that, and he ended up not getting on the podium, which was shocking to me. Give Cole Hawker a lot of credit. He charged in the end, and same with Quincy Hall. Saved up their stuff enough and then turned on the afterburners in the end to win their races and score some upsets and get more gold medals for the United States. Of course, I mentioned Noah Lyles doing his thing. He's got a gold medal already in these games for the U.S., and he'll be going for one tomorrow. Same with Sydney McLaughlin. And let's see, who else did I forget to mention? So I mentioned Sydney McLaughlin. She's going to be going for gold tomorrow in the women's 400 meter hurdles, and then I mentioned Noah Lyles has got a fun. I'm just trying to remember the name of this. All right, so just to name a few events. Gabby Thomas, sorry. So, and kudos and congrats to Gabby Thomas, who has won gold for the United States as well. So, looking forward to watching more and more track and field. But right now, things are looking good, very encouraging for both sides of Team USA in terms of track and field. Like, there's still plenty more events to go, and Team USA right now, they brought their best. They put their best foot forward in track and field so far in the Paris Olympics, and it says a lot about the training that is going on with Team USA in track and field. They've really stepped up. Now, we've always had a good track and field, but I've noticed this year there's a particularly different vibe, and it's showing right now. So, really exciting stuff to watch, and be sure to check out the replays if you haven't seen any of these races and you want to see them, of course. But good stuff from Team USA in men's and women's track and field. And also, shot put. We won gold and silver in that. So, whew. Lots of good stuff. So the U.S. as of right now, with that said now, so with those 6 gold medals in track and field, the United States now has a total of 27 gold medals. And right now, that's more than any other nation. The next closest is China with 25. The U.S. has a total of 94 medals. As things stand, the U.S. is projected to have around 100 medals before these games are done, at the very least. So, really, again, track and field for Team USA been a lot of fun to watch, a lot of exciting stuff, and plenty of fireworks, and plenty of close quarters drag racing, speed crazy stuff. So, good stuff from keep up the good work, USA track and field. All right. And for my final subject, here's the thing. The Olympics, they're no stranger to controversy, all right? Every Olympic Games has one or two things that could be deemed as controversial, or whether they're minor or major. Now, with that being said, the Paris Olympic Games, sadly, despite how many exciting things have happened, and all the sights and sounds, and the highlights, sadly, the Paris Olympics are going to go down as, without a doubt, one of the most controversial Olympic Games in the history of the modern-day Olympics. And there's just been so much that has happened in these Olympic Games that's not good, or just unusual, or whatever you want to say. So, and there's plenty. So I'll give you guys a lowdown on the controversy. So to start, I could go in about how controversial the opening ceremony was with the drag queens and what a lot of people thought was a mockery of the Last Supper. I'm not going to go into that. We all know, I've already seen that enough times. I mean, I got my opinions on it, but I won't share them with you. So that I could go in about how they hung the Olympic flag upside down in the opening ceremony. This is not a joke. They actually hung the Olympic flag upside down. Oops. That was a very big whoops moment. I could go into that, and there's a lot more about that opening ceremony I could go into, but that's just part of the controversy. And also, I could go in about the Olympic Village and how the beds are made out of cardboard, and they're uncomfortable. We got athletes sleeping on park benches or on the side of the streets because the beds are apparently so uncomfortable. I go in about athletes moving out of the Olympic Village because of that, and I could go into detail about the problems of not having air conditioning in the Olympic Village, which you gotta have air. I know you're trying to make this the greenest games possible, but you could have. But come on, we gotta have air conditioning, and I can go in about the food and that stuff. But okay, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm gonna focus on the ones that affected the sporting events at the Olympics. Obviously, there's the boxing controversy, and there's more than one. We all know about the two boxers who have been in the women's tournament who some question are really women or not. I won't go too much into that, but that's one of the controversies. And there's another one that's been getting overlooked. So the one that's been coming to my mind a lot, it revolves around boxers from Great Britain, both men and women. Apparently, there's even one her first name's Rosie. Her name's Rosie. She actually, pretty much in her first bout of these Olympics, she literally dominated the match. She dictated the terms, landed more punches on her opponent, and darn near almost knocked her opponent out twice. Her opponent got docked a point and was given a warning. And yet, the judges who were monitoring that match gave her opponent the win, even though her opponent did not do enough to win that match. And no, that is actually true, folks. And I've seen a little bit of that match, and it has me scratching my head. And there was another one on the male side who had a short stay in the Olympics, and he said he would not question the officiating of the. He would not call into question the officiating of the judges of the Olympics, but he believes his opponent didn't do enough. So there's that controversy, and that's one I can kind of get behind. And all I gotta say about that is, why in the world can we not find a set of judges or a boxing organization that can keep its judges under control and train them properly and make sure that they are focused in and calling these matches correctly in favor of the guy who's actually landing more punches and doing more to win the fight, at the very least. That's not just an Olympic problem, that's been a boxing problem for a long time. Too many corrupt judges. In fact, you could make the case that 90% of the judges, whether it's Olympic boxing or Major League Boxing, you could make the case 90% of the judges are corrupt or whatever you want to say. And then, of course, that's one of the controversies. And then there's the Seine River. There's having the triathlon in the Seine River, having the swim part of that in the Seine River. And sadly, I have been told that there were a few athletes that came down with E. coli after the triathlon and then the swimming part in the Seine River. I always thought that's just way too ambitious to do something like that, to swim it okay, I get it, they wanted to get the whole city of Paris involved. It's a cool concept, but the Seine was nowhere near safe to swim in, and even despite Paris's best efforts to clean it, no, they should have held the triathlon in a different body of water, a more safer body of water, a more cleaner body of water. And unfortunately, Paris did not learn the lessons from Rio. You got to be able to swim got to have a clean body of water to swim in. And the Seine, look, as beautiful as the Seine is, it's not the cleanest body of water from what I've heard. And sadly, some athletes have come down with diseases like E. coli, and there might be some lawsuits to follow after this. We'll have to keep tabs on this, but that's another controversy involving the athletes, triathlon. I mean, they had to delay it several times because because of the water levels or the contamination levels of the Seine River. Like, it's good for... Okay, so maybe it's good for boating on, but not for... But they banned swimming in the Seine for a reason, and it just should have never gone forward with that. They should have either found a different... Before that, they should have just found a different body of water long before then to work with, instead of the Seine. So, there's that, and of course, I could... So, those are just some of the controversies, and one other... couple other controversies. You know, there's the swimmers from China who won the gold medal in the men's 4x100 meters relay. I mean, if there two of the swimmers on that team were part of the doping scandal for China and probably should not have been allowed to partake, but hey, if they were clean for these games, then it's all good. Then it's fair play then. But if they were, but I do think they need to be tested one more time, and if they don't come back clean, then you know what? Rules are the rules. So that's that controversy. So, and there were just plenty of athletes from China who were involved in a doping scandal. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not always accurate about everything, but this was a story I'd been following, and a lot of involved swimmers who were swimming for Team China, who had actually been caught doping, and somehow their tests were, I don't know, overridden or whatever, and they were allowed to partake in the Olympics anyway. So, yeah, you could say sour grapes on my part, and you know, that's a fair statement, but hey, I'm not the only one. The British, including Adam Peaty from Britain, he's questioning this as well. So, oh, I'm not going. So, these are just a few of the controversies that people are going to remember from these Olympic Games, sadly. And also, one more thing. I mean, okay. So, these are just some of the big controversies that a lot of people are going to... Oh, one more. Here's one that everybody's going to remember, and it's one of the dumbest. The drone for Canada soccer. For the women's soccer team, the coach of the women's soccer team for Canada was dismissed because supposedly they used a drone to monitor the activity of the South Korean soccer team. Or I can't remember which soccer team it was, but someone spotted it and they reported it to the Olympic Committee, and the coach for Canada got busted for it, considering that they figured out that the drone was a property of Team Canada. So, oh my goodness. So that's one that's not necessarily France's fault in that, or the Paris Olympic Committee's fault. That's just dumb decision. That's just stupidity on the Canadians' part there. Like, why do you need a drone? Just fire practice. Just prepare the best you can. Do the best you can. So, in conclusion to all of this, whether or not... So, these were all the controversies I just named. So, in conclusion, you know, whether or not these games... How these games are going to be remembered, whether it be for the better or for worse, it's all going to come down to how people see these controversies. And the thing about the Paris Games is, I love the idea of hosting the Olympic Games in the City of Light. You know, all the landmarks, Eiffel Tower, Arc de Triomphe, Notre Dame Cathedral. Using the city as much as possible, like the famed landmarks of the city, using the landmarks of the city as much as possible. Seemed like I liked the idea of that. And you know, there have been some exciting moments in these games, but we'll see about the legacy of these. Like, I'm not talking about Olympic legacy, but overall sporting legacy of these games. We'll see how it is, considering the stacking amount of controversies that have been in these Olympic Games. Time will tell, and that's all I will have to say about this for now. All right, on to this day in sports history, and on this day... Sorry about that. On this day, the 7th of August. I forgot. Sports fans, I apologize for this. I forgot to pull this tab up. The 7th of August, 1903, Tommy Coron sets MLB record for shortstops when he records 14 assists in Cincinnati's 4-2 win versus the St. Louis Cardinals. All right, sports fans, that's all I got for this week's Wax on Wednesday. Me and Tyler would like to thank you for your support. It means everything to us. And thanks for watching this week's Wax on Wednesday. Jake Waxman from Two Guys Talk Sports, signing off.